Virginia, you hear me? You're feeling cold? Okay. 13呗，你 share screen sharing 的看上你有的，所以的呢，差不多连起来。Okay, we'll recite this Ye Dharma mantra 3 times. Ye Dharma mantra. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Hyavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Okay, refuge in Bodhicitta. Okay. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, going back to the text. Okay, going back to the text. Okay. So now what we're reading here, this is a very important point. When you speak about dependent origination, the idea that things come into being purely by dependent origination, unless until we get this understanding, we will not see the illusion-like nature of all phenomena, without which we cannot be free from suffering. So now from this, what we are reading here, this will take us to understand that the mechanism, what is meant by dependent origination. And then on that basis, see that we might get a feeling as we read the following passages, we might get a feeling that it's like too mechanical, and then on that basis, this like the beginning experience. Initially, it may give you a little bit of unease in your mind. It doesn't matter. We study more, reflect more, then you see the reality. Finally, the point is that we have to see the reality, what the reality is. So if this is reality, then beyond this, what we see as something more than this, that is deception. When you uncover this deception, then you get the wisdom. So this wisdom, all our miseries will dissolve. That's all purpose. With this mind, Let us read. Okay, what is causal relation in outer dependent arising? So we talked about the outer dependent arising and the inner dependent arising. Inner meaning the self, outer meaning the external things other than the self, like the flowers, the world, the Milky Way galaxy, the universe, and so forth. So it says, what is the cause? And within that, we speak about the outer first. Outer, within the outer, then we see causal and conditional. Within the inner, again, causal and conditional. So first, outer and causal. What is the causal relation in outer dependent arising? It is as follows. Let's say from a seed comes a sprout. First, we plant an apple seed. From the apple seed, it comes a sprout. This is a nature. It's not from the apple seed, apple fruit. No, that's not the dependent origination. The dependent origination has its the proper sequence there. Number one, from the seed comes a sprout. From the sprout comes a leaf. The leaf, a tiny leaf comes out. From that tiny leaf, then the stem comes out. From the stem, the pedicel comes out. From the pedicel, the pistil comes out. From the pistil, then the flower comes out. And then flower, then the fruit comes out. So we see that there are many of these steps. What is indicated here, there are 8 steps. 8 steps there. But in actuality, we can even go further. We can go more than this. We can go, if you are the florist, if you're a gardener, then you're expert in gardening, then you know many steps. So what is indicated here is the 8 steps. The flower comes a fruit. If there is no seed, now on the contrary, if the seed is not there, the sprout cannot arise and so on until finally, without the flower, the fruit cannot arise. So this is the causal dependent origination of the external outer or external with respect to the cause. This is the causal. Then for the condition, I said earlier, water, earth, water, fire, air, this will be discussed later. And finally, without the flower, the fruit cannot arise. If there is a seed, the sprout will form, and so on, until finally, if there is a flower, then the fruit will form. In that process, okay, now from this, we come to realize, we'll come to learn what is dependent origination, where there's no external agent to dictate that this should happen. This is a natural process. It says, in that process, the seed does not think, I form the sprout. The seed gives rise to the sprout. The seed does not think that, okay, I'm going to give rise to the sprout. The seed does not dictate it, meaning that spirit does not have this intention to create the sprout. When the seed is there, when the other factors are there, then it gives rise to a sprout. This is dependent origination. Nor does the sprout think, I'm formed by the seed. Likewise, the flower does not think, I form the fruit. Nor does the fruit think, I'm formed by the flower. Yet, if there is a seed, the sprout will take form and arise, and so on until finally, likewise, if there's a flower, the fruit will take form and arise. Thus is a causal relation in outer dependent arising to be seen, which is something so unique. Causal meaning something so unique to the flower and the fruits. The next, so how is the conditional relation in outer dependent arising? Now, outer dependent arising and condition. What kind of conditions? So how is the conditional relation? How is the conditional relation in outer? Okay. So how is the conditional relation in outer dependent arising to be seen? As due to the coming together of the 6 elements. As due to the coming together of which 6 elements? Namely, conditional dependent arising is to be seen as due to the coming together of the element of earth, water, fire, air, space, and season. The season or the time. These 6 elements. So, in what way these 6 elements serve as condition to the seed to give eventually to give rise to the fruit. The earth element functions as a support for the seed. Same. The first we have to put the seed in the earth. So earth's supports it. The water element moistens the seed. The fire element ripens the seed. Okay, we all agree. Then the air element opens the seed. The air, there's the energy in the air, so it opens the seed. The space element performs the function of not obstructing the seed, and not obstructing the germination from happening. And season or the time transforms the seed. Say, let's say what the plants, the fruits, or the plants and the flowers, they are seasonal, and even the vegetables, they are seasonal. Some vegetables they grow in summer, some in the spring, and some in the autumn, and so forth. So and so this is seasonal. So therefore, that season also plays a very important role to contribute as a condition. Without these conditions, without these conditions, the sprout cannot form from a seed. But when the outer elements of earth is not deficient, and likewise water, fire, air, space, and season are not deficient, then from the coming together of all these factors or the conditions, a sprout forms as the seed is ceasing. The seed ceases and the sprout is given rise to. Earth element doesn't think, same. Earth element doesn't think, I support the seed. Nor does the water element think, I moisten the seed. Nor does the fire element think, I ripen the seed. Nor does the air element think, I open the seed. Nor does the space element think, I make sure the seed is not obstructed. Nor does the season think, season or the timing, summer, spring, I transform the seed. Nor does the seed think, I form the sprout. Nor does the sprout think, I formed these conditions. Yet when these conditions are present and the seed is ceasing, the sprout is formed. Likewise, when finally there is a flower, the fruit forms. This is how the conditions, they give rise to they serves as a the origination, dependent factor, giving rise to the origination of the 8 forms. The sprout is not created by itself. Okay, now, so this sprout given rise to by the seed of it is given rise to by the seed in the form of the cause, given rise to by the 6 elements as the conditions. When the cause is there, when the conditions are there, the sprout is not created by itself meaning that without these conditions and the seed, then it does not give rise to itself. Nor created by another external agent, not created by both, not created by Ishvara. Ishvara meaning some external, the agent which decides. For example, in Indian, the philosophical traditions, there are many traditions which believe in some kind of, the agent responsible for creating the whole universe, the agent. And that agent, the concept differs greatly from one tradition to the other. Some say that the time is the agent. Time is the final creator of the universe. And some say the particles are the agent. It is responsible for creating the whole universe. And some say, no, time is not, the particles are not. There's some agent known as the Prakriti, the chief generality, or the Prakriti as the agent to decide. Even the concept of the creator, there are multiple versions. So it says that not derived from Prakriti as an external agent, and not born without any cause, is not causes also. It's not a random production. Nevertheless, through the coming together of the elements of earth, water, fire, air, space, and season, the sprout forms as the seed is ceasing. It is formed from the seed, and as the sprout comes into being, the seed ceases. Thus is the conditional relation in outer dependent arising to be seen. Here, outer dependent arising is to be seen in terms of 5 aspects. Okay, now this outer dependent arising, let's say how the plants come into being, the flowers that you plant in the courtyard comes into being, how the universe comes into being, okay, how the COVID comes into being. Here, outer dependent arising is to be seen in terms of 5 aspects. Which 5? as not permanent, as not discontinuous, as not involving transmigration, as the formation of large result from a small cause, and as a continuity of similar type. Okay, these 5 points are very important. The more we reflect on these 5 points, our understanding of the dependent origination becomes clearer, and it becomes experiential. And the more we delve into these concepts, then in the future lives, then your conviction in the efficacy of the dependent origination will become very strong. Okay, so what are these 5? All these are going to be explained in detail one by one. First, it says that as not permanent. The next line says, the next para. How is it not permanent? How is it not permanent? It is not permanent because the sprout and the seed are different. Let's say the seed gives rise to the sprout. If the seed is permanent, then the seed should remain as seed all the time. Whereas, on the contrary, that seed gives rise to the sprout, and the sprout is not the seed. The earlier seed ceases. So it is not permanent. It is not permanent because the sprout and the seed are different. When a sprout comes into being, the color, the shape, and so forth of the sprout and the seed, these are different. The sprout is not the seed. The sprout does not come from the seed after it has ceased. Meaning that, okay, these are a little technical. These concepts will really help us to grow in our thinking. It will sharpen our thinking. So the sprout does not come from the seed after it has ceased. Meaning that, okay, my question to you, all of us, my question to you, all of us, is that okay, my question to you is gelir mi de? La. Okay. My question to you is, the seed gives rise to the sprout. How many agree? Raise hands. The seed gives rise to the sprout. How many of you agree? Raise hands. Very good. Okay. Seed gives rise to the sprout. Now my question to you is, the sprout is produced from the seed. So this act of production happens at the time of seed, or at the time of the sprout, or in between. Anybody? This act of production, because without this act of production, the sprout cannot be produced from the seed. So my question to you is, this act of production, which connects the two, happens at the time of seed, or at the times of sprout, or in between seed and the sprout? Anybody?
In between.
Raise hands. Okay. Reliam. William, unmute. Yes, William.
Yes, William here.
Yeah.
The sprout will be produced at the same time when the seed stops or ceases. So you either get one or the other, no in between.
Okay, my question to you. So just follow my question. William, where are you from?
I'm living in Melbourne, Australia.
From
Australia. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Australians. I hope the Australians have good ear, right? Okay, you should have good ear, meaning that you have to get my question correct. Give an answer according to the question, right? My question is, this act of production of the sprout happens at the time of seed, or at the time of sprout, or at the time of in between the seed and sprout. You choose one. Don't reject anything else. Just choose one of your choice. Subhashini ji, unmute yourself. Yes.
It is a process.
I know it's a
It is-
process. This again, the
No. The
Bangalore
process
people
starts.
should have good,
No,
good
Geshe-la,
ears.
the process starts with the seed and ends with the sprout.
Yeah, I know
just-
that. Okay,
Wow.
production, actual production, it happens in time. Which time? At the time of seed, at the time of shoot, or at the time
No,
of
it is
sprout?
a continuous process from a seed to a sprout.
Okay, which
This is-
means
Yes,
that
it's pro-
in,
Oh,
okay,
The seed, the sprout
Okay, let's all
emerges from
listen
the
to-
seed.
let us all listen to what Subhashini ji has said. She said that it's a process. It's a process. It starts from the seed
The seed
and it finishes.
gives rise to the sprout.
No, it finishes when? It
When the
begins
sprout-
with the seed and it
Finishes
finishes at the
sprout.
sprout.
When it comes
Which
to the
means
sprout.
that, okay, which means it ends at the sprout.
Yes.
Okay, it ends at the beginning of the sprout.
No, it depends on whether. No, it doesn't. It depends on how much you want to sprout it.
Okay, so then if I don't want the sprout too long, then it ends at the beginning of the sprout. Yes.
A lot of people eat sprouts.
No,
So
you.
they wait for.
I'm asking you. So some of the sprouts, the production of the sprouts can stop at the beginning of the sprout. Is this what you're saying? Some of the sprouts.
Not really.
Okay,
It
which
won't
means
stop at the beginning. If the necessary causal conditions are there, it will not stop.
okay. So otherwise, if, without the necessary causal conditions, it can stop at the beginning of the sprout.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so which means there's a production which stops at the beginning of the sprout. Is this what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if the necessary causal conditions
No,
are
this is what
there,
I'm saying. For some productions where the necessary causal conditions are not there, can stop at the time of the beginning of the sprout. Is this what you're saying?
yeah, because it's an
Very good, very
interdependent
good.
thing.
Very good. Okay. Good. Then there is the Pooja's younger sister. Ritvi, what's your answer? Act of production happens when? At the time of seed or at the time of the result, at the time of the sprout?
Seed.
At the time of seed. Okay. So the Ritvi is saying that the production of the sprout happens at the time of the seed. And Subhashini is saying that act of the production of the sprout is a process. It begins at the time of seed and it ends at the time of the sprout, either at the beginning of the sprout or in the middle of the sprout or at the end of the sprout, depending on how, what quality, you want of the sprout. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, Cyril?
Yes, I think that if the production starts at some time, it means the object which is produced didn't exist before.
No, this is not my question.
Okay.
My question is the act of production of the sprout. Okay, the sprout, is it produced? Yes. So is produced means there's an act of production of the sprout. Act of production of the sprout exists in time. You all agree? It happens in time. It happens in time. Which time? At the time of seed or at the time of the sprout? This is my question. Anybody? Anybody? Mark? Martin? Martin, you want to give the answer?
Yeah.
Martin?
Yeah, it's happened at the time when it's necessary.
Okay, which means after if it is necessary, after the sprout also.
Yeah, I mean, it's not because it's necessary, but it's because it's there that then the seed happened.
Exactly. Okay, Roger? Roger, unmute.
Oui, pour moi, il n'y a pas véritablement un moment très précis où il y a un changement entre la graine et la pousse. Parce qu'on peut descendre ce moment de passage, cette transition à un instant de temps infiniment petit. En fait, on peut descendre à l'infini. Il n'y a pas véritablement une transformation qui s'opère à un moment précis.
Okay, Jimbala. Jimbala, unmute.
Okay. You have understood? You have understood what he said?
No.
He said there
I
is,
don't speak French.
he said there is no really a time of production, because this time of production can be so small, so tiny, that there is not really a time of production that we can speak of production. That's what he was saying.
Okay, so it happens when? At time of seed or at time of the sprout?
No, he didn't. He said that the time of production is so small that there is no really a time of production. There is no really production.
This small time was at the time of seed or at the time of the shoot, sprout? This small time.
This he didn't say. He said that it's so small, so that it's
okay.
No.
That's all. Listen, because this is not easy. It's very complicated. You're getting it? Okay, we have Rosa Castles.
Yes, good morning. I think that there is a time in between where the seed ceases to be a seed and the sprout is not yet a sprout, and that's the time where in between where the transformation takes place.
Okay, so the Rosa is saying is that it's not at the time of seed. Between seed and the sprout, there's a short time. At that time, the production is happening. Okay, very good. Okay, and then the Ritvi, this young girl, said that is at the time of seed. Now, if somebody can tell me that it happens at the time of the sprout, then we have all three. Anybody? Anybody who thinks that the production happens at the time of the sprout? Okay, the Kim Louis? Yes, Kim Louis, tell me.
Yes, if I will take it as it happened at the time of sprout, where the seed.
Okay, so now we have all three versions. We have all three versions now. Very good. Okay, let's see if at the time of sprout. Okay, now let's see that the complications in each of these three, and we see that there is no option other than these three things, and all the three options have a problem. If we say at the time of sprout, the sprout is already produced. What's the purpose of production? Why do we need production? It's already produced. Production is to make happen something which is non-existent. Is already existent. Why should the production required? Number one. Number two, at the time of seed, Ritvi, if it is time of seed, without the what is being produced? What is being produced? Sprout is not there, right? Sprout is not produced because we don't find the sprout. So without sprout is being produced. To say sprout is being produced, this agent, the sprout, must be there. So without the agent, how can you say the sprout is being produced? So at the time of seed, this is a problem. In between, if you say in between, there's a problem. Because seed and the sprout, what is that in between? What's the color of that? What's the shape of that? You're getting it? It is like 2019 and 2020. What is in between 2019 and 2020? Well, now 2020 and 2021. What is in between? There's no in between. 2020 finishes, and the very next moment, meaning that the two things are joined. There's no in between. So 2019 is a cause, like the seed. 2020 is like the seed. 2021 is like the sprout effect. So the cause and effect, there's no gap in between. There's no in between on the time there. So therefore, when is the production? If you seriously think about this, and I bet that you will end up in some kind of the mental uneasiness, mental fogginess will come to you. If that happens, don't be scared. Don't be scared. This is good indication that you are discovering that Objectively, there's nothing there as a production. From the object, it's like a dream. It just comes from mind. From the object, when you look for this, where's the production? At the time of seed, at the time of the effect, as a sprout, or at the time in between, you cannot point it anywhere. And then you may feel that because it's not there, but without the production, you cannot deny the existence of production. But where's that? Not at the time of seed, not at the time of the sprout, not in between. Where is that? You're going to find it. So you feel a clash. One, the undeniability of the existence of the production, and the other one, your inability to pinpoint the time of the production, the seed, sprout, and the in between. So there, this clash is reflected in the form of unease feeling in you. Unease is quite, for some people, it can be quite disturbing. For me, when I felt, it was like, I think about like 30 years ago, when I was first reflecting on this question, it really disturbed me so badly for a few days because I could not locate where this production is, yet the production is undeniably happening. Okay, so with this, back to the text.
Objectively, there's no production.
Exactly. Okay, now we are reading. We continue to read from the text. Are we going to read the text? Okay.
Donc, je peux essayer de le traduire.
Okay. How is it not permanent? It is not permanent because.
Comment ceci n'est-il pas permanent?
It is not permanent because the sprout and the seed are different. The sprout is not the seed. The sprout does not come from the seed after it has ceased. Okay, let's say the seed has ceased. The seed has ceased. There's no more seed. There's no more seed now. And from there, the sprout originates. No. In order for the sprout to originate, it should originate from something. Now, we will say it originated from the sprout, the seed, but the seed has already ceased. From this, it cannot, what is ceased, it cannot come out from that. Nor does it come from the seed while it has not yet ceased. And the seed, if the seed is there, then how can the seed and sprout be together? To say that the sprout comes from the existing seed, the seed and the sprout together should be there. This is not possible. Nor does it come from the seed while it has not yet ceased. Rather, the sprout is born precisely as the seed ceases. So the seed ceases and the sprout comes into being. This is just the phenomena of the dependent origination, where you go to the object to pinpoint where it is, you cannot find it. The way like, okay, let's say, the way like this flower. As we see this as a flower, undeniably we see this as a flower. But if you go to pinpoint to the flower where it is, you find that it's just a bunch of cells. And you go into the cells, you see this bunch of, say, the molecules, like DNA molecules and so forth. You go deeper, you see just atoms. In other words, what if we say as a flower, if you go closer to the object, you see it's just a bunch of atoms. Bunch of atoms. And none of the atom is a flower. If you go towards the object, the flower disappears. So the flower does exist from distance. You look at it from distance, you see it's a flower, that's it. Don't try to go to look for the flower from the object. Objectively, there's no flower there. It only exists subjectively. Object and the subject, it only exists, the flower exists subjectively. From close, if you go towards the object, you will never find the object. So, but then the flower does appear to you. Okay, this is very important. Particularly for those of us who are totally new to this concept, you may get a little lost, but bear with me. And those of you who have some exposure to this concept, this is very important. Okay, gallery. Okay, this is a very important question. Some of us, when we say that everything comes from the mind, you may feel a little disturbed. Then there's a danger that we may fall into nihilism. In a way, you are saying that there's nothing there, nihilism. Okay, how to avoid this? One way which can be helpful, and of course the best way by which the nihilism can be avoided is by thinking one is emptiness, and the other side is dependent origination. Emptiness and dependent origination. So these are two sides. If you see emptiness, this one side, but the other side is not nothingness. There is dependent origination. This is very important. If you see dependent origination, then nihilism will be gotten rid of. And I like to share with this group as well. This is very important. How these two things, emptiness should not be seen as nihilism. Emptiness should not be seen as nothingness, or should not be seen as nihilism. And I do this very important point. And of course, this sutra, the best if we can complete this sutra, but if not, at least we need something to take away, something as a takeaway, which is so precious. So when you speak about everything is subject like a dream, then where's the world? Where's the world outside? This is your question. Where's the law of karma? Where is the I go for refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha? What's the point of doing good things? What's the point of stopping bad things? All these questions come to you. How to avoid this question, how to give response to these questions is by thinking of 3 points. This is so important. Number one, that emptiness that we are talking about, nothing exists objectively. The emptiness, everything is empty from the object, everything's from the subject, like a dream. Emptiness should be understood as the same emptiness to be the same meaning as dependent origination. In other words, the first point that we need to learn is emptiness means dependent origination. This is number one. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Then number three, therefore, emptiness is the middle way. It is not nihilism. Let me say this again. The first, emptiness means dependent origination. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Number three, therefore, emptiness means the middle way. For example, say in mathematics, I say A equals B. Then I say B equals C. It is your job now. Number three, therefore A equals C. You're getting it? I say A equals B. Then I say B equals C. Then your job to say that therefore A equals C. Likewise, the emptiness equals dependent origination. One. Number two, dependent origination equals middle way. Number three, therefore emptiness equals the middle way. You're getting it? Okay, the first point, how emptiness equals dependent origination. We have to know this. How? Never take things blindly. Never just follow blindly. We have to always learn we must gain conviction. To gain conviction, we must be able to ask the correct questions, right? Correct questions. So for that matter, how is emptiness, how do you say that emptiness equals dependent origination? How is that emptiness equals dependent origination? This question. For that matter, we have to know 5 points. How emptiness equals dependent origination. To know this, we need to know 5 points. Number one is emptiness. And okay, in French, it may not work. But in English, it works perfectly well. For example, let's say the who, right? What is who? And many of you said that you know English, so there was a problem. Who are you? Who? Right? So WHO, who? If on the big building there's a WHO, most of the people will not take that to mean who are you. You're getting it? It's a short form of World Health Organization. It's a short form of World Health Organization. Likewise, number one, emptiness. Emptiness, number two, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two, emptiness doesn't mean just nothingness or emptiness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two. Number 3, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3, nothing exists independently. Number 3. Number 4, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Number 4. Everything exists by dependence. Number 4. Number 5. Everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently existent. Everything is dependently originated. So with these 5 reasonings, we come to realize that emptiness means, number 5, dependent origination. Let me say this again. The first, emptiness. Number 2 is emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 3, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3. Nothing exists independently means, number 4, everything exists by dependence. Number 5, everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently existent, dependently originated. Number 5, everything is dependently originated. So from these 5 points, we come to realize that emptiness equals dependent origination. This is part 1. Part 2, dependent origination means the middle way. How is it that so? How is it that so that the dependent origination means the middle way? The first, to know this dependent origination, how dependent origination equals middle way, we have to know 2 things. That dependent origination has 2 sides, dependence and origination. The first one is dependence. When you say dependent, it rejects independence. When you say dependent, it rejects independence. And independence, independent existence and absolute existence, these 2 mean the same. Independence and absolute, these 2 mean the same. So when you say dependent, it rejects independence or it rejects absolutism. By dependence, it rejects the absolutism. And the other side is origination. When you say origination, origination means something comes from the origination. Something comes to the existence. And what's the opposite of existence? It is non-existence, nihilism. So origination rejects nihilism. Dependence rejects absolutism. Dependence, the first part, dependence rejects the extreme of absolutism, and the origination rejects the extreme of nihilism. So combining together, dependent and origination combining together rejects the 2 extremes. Rejecting the 2 extremes is following the middle way. This is the middle way. So therefore, dependent origination means the middle way. Now, the first one says emptiness equals dependent origination. Second one says dependent origination equals middle way. Number C, therefore, emptiness equals middle way. When we say emptiness equals middle way, emptiness is not nihilism. Nihilism is the extreme, it's not the middle way. So this is how we have to understand it. This is so important. Okay, if you are okay with this, if you got this, then the next thing that I like to tell you is that anybody, what is in my hand? Okay, most of you may be a little bored. I know it's flower, right? Okay, it's flower. But my question to you is, how do you know that I have a flower in my hand? How do you know that I have a flower in my hand? I can see that. You're getting it? How many of you agree with me? I know that this flower in his hand because I can see that. Raise hands. Very good. I can see that means I perceive. I can perceive the flower. I can perceive the flower. The flower appears to me. You're getting it? The flower appears to me. The flower appears to me. So this is the final verification, the final testimony to say that, yes, I can, there's a flower there. The flower appears to me. You're getting it? So in a way, what is happening is that flower appears to you. Then now the winter is appearing to you. France, winter must be terrible, right? Winter, okay, now I can see the winter now coming, right? Okay, so people are in the okay, that's William is in jacket, and many of you are in your sweaters. Okay. So we see that this is that that it appears the flower, the winter appears to your mind, the flower appears to your mind, the screen appears to your mind. You're getting it? So the thing is that what you see as something is there is just something what appears to your mind. This is undeniable. Do you agree with me or not? Right? Okay, if I eat food, my hunger disappears. If I drink water, my thirst disappears. This is what appears to me. This is what appears to me. And in other words, everything is operating that appears to me. This undeniable. This functionality, what I see as so real there is nothing but the appearance. They appear to me. They appear to me. This is undeniable. Then appearance happens where? Appearance happens to the subject or to the object. Raise hands. Very quick, very quick. We don't have much time. Very quick. Somebody. Okay. Shandila.
Appearance happens from the subject.
Okay, appearance happens to your subject. The flower appears to my eyes, to my mind. That's the subject. You're getting it? The appearance happens to the subject. So now there's undeniable appearance happening to a subject. 24 hours, your mind, 24/7. Something keeps appearing to your mind. Cause and effect, all these things. Okay, then your mind over the last 2 years, okay, you plant a tree. 2 years ago, you have seen that. Now you see the plant has grown very tall. You are seeing this. So over the stretch of 2 years, you perceive the flower, but the plant growing. You're getting it? And over the 20 years, you see that the people are growing old. You're getting it? So me, when I was 7 years old, I was as cute as this girl, Prithvi. Huh? No, Prithvi. Ritvi. Right? When I was 7 years old, I was as cute as this girl, Ritvi. Now I'm 53 years old. I'm no more cute. This is a change happening. You have, in the span of these 53 years, in the span of 50 years, I can see that there's a change happening, right? Some change very short-lived, some change spread with a span of 50 years, 80 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. So this is what is happening. You're getting it? So this all what is appearing to my consciousness. And Prithvi, she did not see things happening over 50 years. I saw that, right? She's very young. So what I'm saying is that this is all what is happening. They're all what we see. This is undeniably the reality. Appearances happening, all the functionalities that is happening around. At the most, what you can see is I can see that. That perception is taking place in your subject. This is undeniable. You're getting it? You're getting it. Okay, don't forget this. Next, my question to you is, if you see me in a water, you are sitting 1 kilometer away from me. Let's say that you are sitting 1 kilometer away from me, and you are seeing me in water, and you're very curious. How come that he's floating in the water, right? I don't think he has miracle power. So you want to analyze, but is it real water or is it mirage? You want to analyze, you want to just investigate whether it is real water or it is a mirage. Okay, my question to you, anybody, how would you evaluate what you are seeing as what you're seeing as deceptive or what you're seeing as the real water? How would you evaluate that? Anybody, raise hands. Very quick, very quick, very quick. Okay, Anna Sophie. Anna Sophie is expert. I know she will give the correct answer.
You go closer to see if it's water or not.
Okay, good. Bhavani.
I have the same answer. I'll go closer and check if it's real water.
Okay. Good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, Cyril.
Maybe I can ask to other people.
Okay. You ask somebody who's drunk next to you? Somebody
Yes,
drunk?
I asked to
Okay,
some,
Gila is swimming in the water. This is what he may say, right? Okay. Isabel?
Je vais faire un raisonnement logique en me disant c'est pas possible. Donc, voilà ce que je pense. Je le pense déjà, quoi, que c'est pas possible.
Okay, why not? Why not? Why can't, how do you say that it's not water? You're getting it? How do you evaluate this? Okay, Roger.
Moi, je vais me dire que c'est certainement un être éveillé.
Okay. Okay. And let's be very, now we are studying dependent origination, right? Don't just go into these beliefs. You're getting it? We're studying dependent origination. We are studying the rationality to build the power of the rationality. Okay, so I agree with Pavani, the Shandila, no, Shandila didn't give the answer, the Anasafi, and many others. Okay, so the answer is that, right? Answer is that you will surely come close to me. You're getting it? You will come closer to me to see. Okay, let's say this is me. You are seeing me in water and you are here 1 kilometer away. And you want to check if it's really water or this is just a deception. Your perception deception. How do you go? You come closer towards the object to see. Coming closer towards me, you see that it's just so dry. Everything is dry. What will you conclude? You conclude that what I earlier saw as water was mirage. It was deception. I was deceived. I was deceived to see the mirage as water. How many of you agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Okay, we all agree with this. Now, so what we said is that the flower is there, the whole world is there here, whole world is here, and your mind has been perceiving this flower or the world for the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, right? And the Ritvi, maybe like 7 years. Ritvi, how old are you? Huh? Ritvi? 8 years old. Okay. Ritvi has 8 years of experience. Huh? 18. 6 years old, 6 years experience. So most of us, we have like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old experience of the life. So all what is happening is that we are perceiving the world. We are perceiving the world. Appearance happening through our consciousness. Now you have to evaluate this. What I'm perceiving as the world, is that really from the object or from the subject? You're getting it? What I'm seeing is the water. Is that really from the object as water, or is my deception? It's a mirage that I'm seeing as a water. How do you evaluate that? You go towards the closer towards the object. So likewise, we go closer to the object, to the world, to see if they really exist the way they appear to me. Then let's say, just take this example, and then you apply this to anything else. Say flower, this flower. This flower is nothing but made of cells. Cells. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. And these cells are made of the chromosomes, the chromosomes, the mitochondria, then the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and so forth. And they say the chromosome is also made of, say, the DNA molecules, and the DNA molecules made of atoms. In other words, this was nothing but pool of atoms. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay. Now, when you look at the flower, you look at it from two ways: with the naked eyes and through electron microscope. With the naked eyes, you see as a flower. Through the electron microscope, you see just bunch of atoms. That's it. Which of the two perceptions is closer to the object? Your naked eyes or the electron microscope? Raise your hands. Very quick. Very quick. Somebody. Okay. Somebody. Okay. Patrick.
From the microscope, of course.
Microscope.
Yes.
Mary. Yes, thank you. Mary. Mary. Unmute. Same. How many you say microscope? Okay, yes. Mary is also.
Du côté du
So all
microscope.
of us agree. All of us agree. What a naked eye sees is further away as compared to the what we see as the object of the through the electron microscope. Through the electron microscope, what we see is the closer to this object. You're getting it? By closer to this object, the flower disappears. This bunch of atoms. You're getting it? So from distance, it appears as a flower. So from this, what we conclude is that from the object, there's no flower there. What we see as object is just a mere appearance. It appears to the mind. It appears to the subject. But from the object, you go close to object, it's not there. What we perceive as a flower is just what is happening in the mind or the subject. It's mere perception taking place, undeniable appearance happening to our mind, undeniable appearance of the world appearing to our mind. Beyond that, there's nothing there from the object. It is like this, for example, say this is a flower. So when you go to you look at it through electron microscope, you see the flower disappears. Okay, how many of you can imagine? How many of you can imagine that when you see this flower through electron microscope, you just see a bunch of atoms and the flower will disappear, no doubt. Raise hands. Very good. You're getting it. Okay, now apply the same thing. Apply the same thing to the human beings. You're getting it. You look at me and you will see as a human being. But this, what you say as a human being, is nothing but made of how many atoms? I think about 70 into billion, 7 into billion atoms, which means like 7 into 10 to the raise of power 27 atoms, right? So say if I weigh 70 kg, so I have 7 into 10 to the raise of power 27 numbers of atoms. This is who I am. If you are 60 kg, 6 into 10 to the raise of power 27 atoms. This is who you are. So in other words, if you look at me through electron microscope, you will not see Dorji. What you will see? You will just see a bunch of atoms. You're getting it? How many you can just imagine that, okay, that's true, raise hands. Very good, very good. Now, this is so important, so important. What we see as, okay, this is so good. Wow, this beautiful flower, right? And then you see, you buy a bag. You buy a bag. Of this ordinary bag or Gucci bag. You're getting it? Gucci bag or ordinary bag. You buy a belt for the boys, belt and shoes, Gucci shoes, or what is the other company? Louis Vuitton shoes, or when you look at on the atomic level, there's no difference between Louis Vuitton or the whatever. There's no difference. You're getting it? What we see is just purely projection of a mind, purely projection of mind. On the atomic level, there's no Louis Vuitton, there's no Gucci. It's just a pure projection of a mind. How deceptive. And on the basis of the Gucci dress, Gucci bag, Gucci belt, Gucci perfume, right? With this, then wow, he's amazing, she's amazing, very standard. It's just illusion, right? It's just a bunch of atoms. Right? If you realize that, this will free you. This will free you from unnecessary bondage. This free you from the prison of Gucci. Right? Otherwise, we don't have it. You buy something close to Gucci, and the people around me, they all have everything Gucci, right? Then I feel yourself so poor, so What is this? Just a bunch of atoms, right? Gucci bag is also a bunch of atoms, and local bag is also a bunch of atoms. That's it. €2, 5 euro bag is also a bunch of atoms. 55,000 Gucci bag is also a bunch of atoms. There's no difference. It's just an illusion. We are creating it. Okay, I don't mean to undermine. I don't mean to be scornful of somebody using Gucci. This is not my intention. But the thing is that it imprisons us. It imprisons us, right? So, believe it or not, when you see things as this just a bunch of atoms, that's very true. It's a bunch of atoms. Whereas the Gucci, it dissolves. Forget about Gucci. Even the boy, the concept of male and female also dissolves, right? Maleness and females is a concept of the physical body. And the physical body, you subject the same thing through very closely through electron microscope. You see it's not just a bunch of atoms. That's it. Within that bunch of atoms, there's no male, there's no female, right? All these concepts dissolve. It's such a freedom. When you really get it, right? Just observe your mind. Just observe your mind, how your mind reacts. The moment you see, right? Okay, let's say the Gucci bag and the local bag, right? 5 euro bag and the 5,000 Gucci bag. You look at it without this analysis. Look at it. There's a stark contrast. Gucci bag is so blazing. Your mind simply becomes light and excited. You see local bag. What is this, right? What is this? So aversion comes. But on the atomic level, there's no difference. 100% there's no difference. This concept is purely coming from your mind. There's nothing there from the object as a Gucci bag or Gucci belt, Gucci perfume, Gucci this, or Louis Vuitton. Or what is that, Louis Vuitton? Louis Vuitton. Right? There's nothing. Okay, this is all projection of our own mind. It's an incredibly great relief. It's incredibly great relief, right? This is a freedom. Freedom. And this is the meaning of waking up from the sleep or from the dream of the conventional world, from the dream of the Louis Vuitton, from the dream of Gucci, from the dream of relationships, from the dream of, samsaric positions, the power, the wealth. You just wake up. What a freedom. This is known as nirvana. You're getting it? Okay. Okay, now we continue reading this. So the point that I'm sharing with you here is that we continue reading this. So objectively, there's nothing there, but subjectively it appears as, the whole world is operating there. And this world cannot be denied. The world is operating, and this is something undeniable reality. We have to accept the reality, but this reality is known as dependent origination. There's no objective, there's no independent reality. It's just a dependent origination. Dependent origination, seen from one side, you see dependent origination. Seen from the other side, you see the emptiness of objective existence. Things all exist by dependence on your mind. Okay. Okay. How is it not discontinuous? So we see that not is one negation. This is the another negation. There are two negations used. How is it not discontinuous? Meaning, how is it continuous? So they say the seed and the sprout. It is not like, say, the night shift for somebody, day shift and night shift. In the hospitals, say that, okay, now I'm day shift, and the colleague is that they're doing the night shift. So day shift person, and then so what time? Say like 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Then the day shift person moves out, and the night shift comes. So these are two different people. And if it is that, for example, let's say the day shift person does not hand over anything to the night shift person. Day shift person leaves, the night shift will have no clue, what should I be doing? Because these two are two different people. So likewise, the seed and the sprout, these two are not discontinuous, like two different people. Seed and sprout, these two follow up the continuum. They follow, these two are, they are continuous. These two are not the discontinuation. How is it not discontinuous? It is not discontinuous because a sprout is not born from a seed that has already ceased, meaning that seed has ceased, now there's a gap, and from there the sprout has come. No, these two are connected. The seed and the sprout, there's no gap in between. If there's a gap, then the sprout should come from the seed ceased. No, from a seed that has not yet ceased, meaning that the seed is still there, and from there then the sprout comes out. No, seed is still there, sprout comes out, sprout and the seed should be together. This is also not possible. Rather, like the beam of a scale tilting from up to down, a sprout is born physically when the seed has ceased. So just conventionally, how subjectively it appears. The seed ceases and the sprout arises. These two things happen simultaneously, like the two sides of the two sides of the balance. Say the balance, you buy vegetables, one is a vegetable, the old style balance. Old style balance, the one where you put the stones and the other you put the vegetables. So when the stone weighs more, then the stone side of the balance goes down and the other side of the balance will go up. These two are simultaneous. Okay. Likewise, the sprout grows and the seed ceases. These two happen simultaneously. And if you analyze objectively, you go close to object to see at the time of seed, after the seed, then you will not find anything. Objectively, nothing exists. Okay. How does it not involve transmigration? Okay, these are extremely precious concepts, extremely. So study of this Rice Sutra is so important to really know the reality. So it is like it is like removing the dirt. Say that is let's say the a silver container or gold container, which has the stains for many years. How do you remove the stain? First, you remove the first layer, second layer. You keep scratching it, and more layer. You remove it. This is how the self-grasping ignorance. It has so many layers since time immemorial till now. Self-grasping ignorance has been so thickened in a mind. So you keep scratching it. So all these what we are learning here, these are the ways and means to scratch the layers of the self-grasping ignorance, which very strongly believes it's a chronic illness of believing things to be objectively real. So how does it not involve transmigration? Meaning that, say, for example, one example the Buddha gave is, say, your face and the image of your face on the mirror, in the mirror. Your face is here, and you look at the mirror, you see the image of your face there. So this image, it's not like your face is here, your face moves towards the image. No, it doesn't move. It's just by dependent origination. Just by dependent, the face is here, mirror is there, there's a gap there, and there's no obstruction. But it depends on all these factors, then the image is created. It's not that, there's something from here, substantially here, objectively here, moves from where your face is to the mirror. It doesn't happen like this. Is the transmigration here means in that context something objectively there moving from where it was from the seed to the sprout. It doesn't happen like this. There's a constant flux of a change happening, and this is what is known as the sprout given rise to by the seed. How does it not involve transmigration? It doesn't involve transmigration because the sprout and the seed are different. It's not that my face moves there, right? Seed moves to the sprout. No, because the sprout and seed are very different. If the seed transmigrates, if the seed moves objectively, it moves to the sprout, then at the time of sprout, there should be the seed. But there's no seed to be seen. We only see the sprout. And what is sprout and what is seed, these two are very different. So therefore, transmigration, objective transmigration objectively, it doesn't happen. That which is a sprout is not the seed. How does it entail the formation of a large result from a small cause? This is again another aspect of the cause and effect. From a very small cause, a huge result can happen. For example, like there's a Tibetan expression which says that even if the flower is small, it is very beautiful to be as an offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's a beautiful expression. Although the flower is very small, but if the intention is so pure, it can reap the enormous merit, enormous benefit, enormous results. You offer just a tiny, a tiny flower, a very tiny flower. Ordinary people just throw this, but you offer this out of incredibly great, say, respect, devotion, and so forth. Then the result that you get is just enormous, although the cost is very small. Okay, so this is another reality of the cause of a relationship. So it says, how does it entail the formation of a large result from a small cause? A large fruit forms from planting a small seed. You plant just a very tiny, like a 1 mm or 2 mm size seed, and then it gives rise to thousands of the same seeds. Okay. A large fruit forms from planting a small seed. Therefore, it entails the formation of a large result from a small cause. Lastly, fruit forms precisely according to the type of the seed planted. Therefore, it involves a continuity of similar type. So this is another aspect of the cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship. Okay. In fact, this is something which is the extremely important concept taught by, of course, taught by Buddha, further explained by the Nagarjuna, and then Arya Sangha. Arya Sangha, incredibly great, the encyclopedist. What is said is Arya Sangha, he talked, pertaining to the cause and effect relationship, he taught what is known as the three conditions. Three conditions. The first one is unwavering condition. Unwavering condition. Number two is the condition of the impermanence. Number three is the condition of potentiality, or the condition of concomitancy, or the condition of potentiality. Three conditions. This is very important. If you remember what we learned from the beginning, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma, and whosoever sees the Dhamma will see the Buddha. This is one part. The next part is very important. There are three things. Next part. Because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Because of the ignorance, karma is accumulated. Because of karma, consciousness comes into being. Because of ways, name and form, and so forth. So there are three things there. And Arya Sangha taught the three conditions. So now apply the three conditions to these three things. Because this exists, that exists, corresponds to the unwavering condition. What is the unwavering condition? Okay, this question. The next one is, because this is produced, that is produced. It is the condition for impermanence, number two. Number three, because of ignorance, contaminated karmas arise, because of which consciousness arises. So that is the number three. That is the condition of potentiality, or the condition of the concomitancy. Okay, I'll explain each one of them. The first one, unwavering condition, which the Buddha taught as, because this exists, that exists. Only when the cause is there, then the effects will be there. Because the cause exists, the effects will exist. Without the cause, say like some external agent, right? Nothing will happen. It only happens because of this, the proper cause. Number one, the cause must be there. Cause must be there. Say the cause must be there as an unwavering factor for the effect, not otherwise. Number one. So that is what Arya Sangha said is the unwavering condition. Then number two is, because this is produced, the Buddha taught, because this is produced, that is produced. That is the cause of the impermanence, the condition of the impermanence, meaning that not only there should be the cause, but the cause must be impermanent. Because this is produced. Produced means impermanent thing. Something which was non-existent comes into being, is impermanent. Because this is produced only because the cause is produced, only then the result can be seen as produced. That is produced. So that is the condition of impermanence. Number two. So which means now what we know is that the first stage must be the cause. Number two, the cause must be impermanent. Number three is that because of ignorance, contaminated karmas arise. not because of the wisdom, not because of the wisdom. The non-dual wisdom will not give rise to contaminated karmas, or it will only give rise to uncontaminated karmas. So the contaminated karmas and afflictions, these are only given rise to by the ignorance. Ignorance gives rise to the birth, craving, grasping, then the becoming, birth, death, aging and death. This is all created by ignorance, not by the wisdom. So that is the meaning of the condition of the potentiality. Let's say that I'm so keen to enjoy mangoes. Then I ask my friend, please, say please plant the mango tree for me. I like to eat mangoes. And a person plants apple seed because the apple seed is readily available, plants apple seed. And then after 4 years or 3 years, apples grow, not the mangoes. And I ask, where's the mango, right? I planted and the apples grow. This is a mistake of not being able to identify what is a mango seed. If you want mangoes, plant mango seeds, don't plant apple seeds. If you want happiness, plant the seed of the happiness, not the plant of the suffering. Not plant the seed of the suffering, right? If you want happiness, if you want wealth, don't go for stealing, corruption, so forth. Go for giving. That is the cause of the potentiality. So we have to engage in the cause which has the potential to give rise to the desired result. That is the meaning of the condition of the potentiality, or the condition of the concomitancy. Concomitancy means the result that you're expiring and the cause that you should cultivate. These two must be concomitant in nature. These two must be similar in nature. Okay. So that which is sprout is not the seed. How does it tell? Okay. Lastly, fruit forms precisely according to the type of the seed planted. That is the condition of the concomitancy, or the condition of the potentiality. So only if you plant the seed of apple, you can expect apples, not mangoes. Only if you plant ignorance, the seed of ignorance, seed of negative karmas, so forth, don't expect happiness, only expect miseries. Therefore, it involves the continuity of similar time. The cause and effect should be similar in nature. Thus, it is outer dependent arising to be seen in terms of 5 aspects. Similarly, inner dependent arising also arises from 2. Now, the external dependent arising is done. External dependent arising with the causal and the conditional, done. Now, the inner dependent arising. Okay, this is related to the 12 links which we studied yesterday. Okay. Similarly, inner dependent arising also arises from 2 principles. Causal, from what 2 principles? From a causal relation and a conditional relation. What then is the causal relation in inner dependent arising? It starts with ignorance. Okay, there are 12 links of dependent origination. It starts with ignorance. Causing formation. Ignorance giving rise to the number 2, which is formation or the karma, and so on, until finally birth. Number 11, birth causes aging and death. This is the causal. If ignorance does not arise, now to reverse this, if ignorance does not arise, then formation do not manifest, and so on, until finally, if birth does not arise, then aging and death do not manifest. Likewise, from the existence of ignorance, formation occurs, and so on, until finally, from the existence of birth comes aging and death. Ignorance does not think, I produce formation. Yes, when the ignorance is there, invariable attachment, aversion, these afflictions arise, from which the karmas, the contaminated karmas are given rise to. And the ignorance doesn't think that I'm going to give rise to the contaminated karmas or the formation. Ignorance doesn't think, I produce formation. No two formations think, we are produced by ignorance, and so on. Finally, birth does not think, I produce aging and death. No two aging and death think, I'm produced by birth. When the birth is there, invariably aging and death arises, right? Okay, this is dependent origination. but dependence of birth, the aging arises. In fact, the Buddha asked, the Buddha rhetorically he brought this question: Is it true that all who are born in samsara will die? The Buddha said, yes. Death invariably follows the birth in samsara. And the second question was asked: Are all who dies, will they take birth? The Buddha said, those who die without attachment will not take birth. Those who die with attachment will take birth in samsara. Okay, so this is the law of the, one without attachment, the cause, dependence on which samsaric birth, that cause is severed, the birth will stop. Where the cause for the birth is not severed, the birth invariably arises after the death. Whereas where there's a death, there's a birth, the death invariably arises. This is the law of dependent origination. So with this, it makes us very courageous, number one. So there, for example, say me, when I was younger meaning that when I was in my 20s or teenage, physically, I was very, very agile. Yeah, I can eat anything, right? My stomach doesn't bulge, right? So I can eat anything, that's fine. And then even without doing any exercise, my body looks so nice. But then now, age 50s, right? You eat something a little extra, you don't do exercise in 3 days, you become fat. This is the reality. So the thing is that this is known as the invariable change. And I shouldn't feel attached to my youth, because the youth invariably changes. This is the reality. Invariable changes. But where this youth comes into being, but depends on the causes and conditions of the contaminant karmas. So this, undesirable things as aging and death is bound to happen. So if you know these realities, you will not be shocked. Whereas if you don't know these realities, if you don't think about these realities, when the actually aging and death hits us, then we'll be shocked. So some people, as they age, like, studying dependent origination, practicing bodhicitta, then the person deep inside, the person becomes happier. The person ages, the body becomes more frail, the body becomes less agile, but mentally person is happier. So whereas on the contrary, there are some, as they age, they become more and more unhappy. So then as they age, like when they reach age 40, 50, they miss their youth. When that happens, this is the indication that one is not into dharma practice. Even though you may be reading the sutras, you may be into sadhanas and retreats and so forth, but if you tend to miss your youth, which means that we are not a real dharma practitioner. Real dharma practitioner is, as you practice dharma more, you become happier. As you age, physically you become less competent, but mentally you become more competent. If that happens, instead of you missing your youth, you feel happier now. If that happens, you are a real dharma practitioner. Okay. Nevertheless, okay. Okay, nevertheless, we continue reading this. Nevertheless, formations take form and arise through the existence of ignorance, so on, and until finally aging and death take form and arise through existence of birth. Thus is the causal relation in inner dependent arising to be seen. How is the conditional? Okay, now the inner dependent arising, the causal, that is the 12 links, is done. Now the conditional, that is easier. Easier meaning is easy, the way we did earlier. How is the conditional relation to inner dependent arising to be seen? As due to the coming together of the 6 elements. Now the 6 elements here, and the 6 elements enumerated with the the outer dependent origination is slightly different. The last one is different. As due to the coming together, the coming to the 6 elements, as to the coming together of which 6 elements, namely the conditional relation in inner dependent arising, is to be seen as due to the coming together of the elements of earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. So with the outer dependent origination, instead of consciousness, we counted the season or the time. Here, what is the earth element? Okay, now that I'm going to read is pretty easy. What's the earth element in inner dependent arising? For us, let's say, for us, so when we are first conceived in the mother's womb, how we develop, and okay, and then once we're born, how these 6 elements play a role to sustain us. Here, what is the earth element in inner dependent arising? That which assembles to form the solidity of the body in the conception, at the time of the conception of the mother's womb. So your body, the 2 substances of the parents, they come together. So this is because of the earth, the solidity, which assembles to form the solidity of the body is called the earth element, solidity. That which provides cohesion, and the substance from parents, and then the parents, they eat, the mother eats food, and then it keeps growing. So the food that the mother eats and the substance of the parents, they come together. There's cohesion happening. It's not like they are like separate entities. The cohesion happens that because of the water, which provides cohesion to the body, is called the water element, which digests. And then let's say when you're born, when you're given birth, and then you eat food, the food digests is because of the fire element. That which digests whatever the food eats, drinks, chews, and tastes is called the fire element. That which performs the function of the body's inhalation and exhalation, the breathing, that is because of that is known as the air element. That which allows the body to have hollow space inside is called the space. For example, our body is made of like 99% of our body is space. So that allows the flow of the blood carrying all these nutrients to different parts of the body, and the air also, say the carrying the oxygen, with the oxygenated air, again the blood carries to different parts of the body and so forth. So this is because of the space. Space allows us to do that. That which produces the sprouts of name. Okay, now with this, what we have is okay. The 12 links of dependent origination. Number 4, which is name and form. Name and form meaning in the mother's womb. In the mother's womb after conception, the first moment, the second moment, then you have the body and you have the mind. Your mind you get from your past life, and the body you got from your parents. So these 2 things, that which produces the sprout. This is metaphorical. This metaphor, the sprouts of name and form. Name referring to your consciousness, and the form referring to your body within the mother's the womb, like reeds in a sheaf. Reeds in a sheaf meaning, say like, okay, let's say there are many petals there. All these petals combine together by this the stem there. So likewise, say the grass, straw, put them together, bind them with the straw or a rope, and then you pull the blade of the grass, the whole thing will move. So the consciousness and your body, these 2 are put together, and then these 2 go wherever one goes, both go together. A sheaf, the combination of the 5 collections of the consciousness. You have the 5 collections, the 5 sense consciousness: the ear, eye, nose, tongue, and the body, together with the defiled mental consciousness. So 5 sensory consciousness and 1 mental. Mental meaning thinking part, thinking. The sense consciousnesses, they don't think. It's called the consciousness element. Without these conditions, the body cannot be born. Okay, which means that we have the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, plus the consciousness. These 6 together serves as the condition. Without these conditions, the body cannot be born. But when the inner earth element is not deficient meaning when it is intact, and the likewise the element of water, fire, air, space, and consciousness are not deficient, then from the coming together of all these factors, all these conditions, the body is formed. In this process, the earth element does not think, I provide the solidity of the body by assembling, nor does the water element think, I provide the cohesion for the body, nor does the fire element think, I digest whatever the body eats, drinks, chews, and tastes, nor does the air element think, I perform the function of the body's inhalation and exhalation, nor does the space element think, I create hollow space inside the body, nor does the element of consciousness think, I produce the name and form of the body, nor does the body think, I'm produced by these conditions. Yet, when these conditions are present together, the body is formed. So which means that this is the dependent origination. Dependent origination. The earth element is not as, okay, now little technical part is coming here. The earth element is not a self. It's not a self. Okay. A self meaning, okay. So what we have this element, earth element, like the solid part of the body. Of course, that is not a self. There is no Dorji. That is not you. A self, not a being. Not a being. Being here has a connotation of somebody which moves. You say that whether it's a cough, whether it is the corpse, or a living being, if you see as a corpse, if it starts moving, or it's not a corpse, it's the human being. Okay, so then a being means somebody who performs the act of the coming and going and so forth. Not a life force. Okay, not a life force, meaning that the body per se, a body per se is not a living. It's not living in the sense. It's not it does not have a life force. Not a creature. Okay, not a creature meaning as not being created. Creation means the somebody created it. So not as what is created by an external agent. Okay, not a human. Not a human means that this is the English translation, but in the Tibetan the text, it's a little difficult to translate all these things into English because the culture is very different. But the point is that in Tibetan it is like, say, initially the human being, whatever give rise to the human being. Okay, something give rise to the human being. So according to Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory, we can speak about it, going back to the animals, then going back to the fish, going back to the microorganism. This is how we can go back. Our ancestors can be tracked back to the microorganisms in the water. Okay, I say whatever that is what is produced from that agent as a human being now. That is a human. But this earth element is not that human. Not a person. Not a person meaning that, okay, this human, this being gives rise to its offsprings, not like the offsprings. Not a female. Our body per se is not male, female. Body per se. And our body makes us male or female, right? But the body per se is not male. Not male or female is a being. Body is not a being, and not neutral. Not I, not mine, not anybody else's. Anybody else's meaning that there's something which is possessed by an external agent. Not like that. Similarly, the water element, the fire element, the air element, the space element, each of these elements are not a self. So the way we examined like this, the plant, this flower, when you subject this to the electron microscope, we just end up seeing the atoms. So likewise, when you look at the self, through a very close inspection, by going closer to the object, we end up seeing the 6 elements. And none of these 6 elements is the self. Where is the self? Where is the flower? The flower disappears in the eyes of the electron microscope. Likewise, the self also disappears in the face of the mind analyzing deeper into these 6 elements. So it disappears. So similarly, the water element is not the self, the fire element, the air element, the space element, and the consciousness element, so on, are not a self, not a being, not a life force, not a creature, not a human, not a person, not female, not male, not neutral, not I, not mine, and not anybody else's. Here, what is ignorance? Okay, let's see. We talk about this 12 links of dependent origination now. This is going to be a quite heavy text, not difficult, but quite heavy. It requires a lot of background, So for some of you who are not exposed to the 12 links of dependent origin before, it may be a little challenging. Don't worry. If you listen to the recordings again, or if you happen to receive the same teaching again, then you'll find it much easier. For that, I would highly, highly recommend that all of us study the Wheel of Life, which we did very quickly yesterday. That if you can study in more detail, then what we are studying becomes very easy. Here, what is ignorance? That which perceives these same 6 elements to be unitary. Okay, now look. First, we have to get the understanding. Okay, let us spend like the few seconds to think of ourselves in the form of 6 elements. Okay, gallery. Okay, do you agree with me that if somebody scans you properly, your body, yourself, not the body, yourself, then you see that what do you see as the self? What do you see as I, the self? The self is just composed of these 6 elements. Say, what we have is the solid part, the skin. Go beyond that, behind the skin, then you will see the fatty tissues. Behind that, you will see the muscles, and then the bones, blood vessels, then the heart, the lungs, the intestines, the gallbladder, then the kidney, spleen, pancreas, all these solid parts. These solid parts, they constitute element of earth. This is one. Then number 2 is the blood. We have the 4 liters of blood. 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. That is the element of water, number 2. Then element of the element of the fire, the body heat, 1,600 joules of energy or 2,600 joules of energy. There's a body heat that we have. That's the element of earth. That is also not me. Then element of air, 4.6 liters of air that we breathe in and out through the lungs. 4.6 liters of air. There's also not the self. There's also not I. There's also not you. Then the space. 99.9% of your body is just space. That's also not you. You are a solid person. Space is vacuum. This is also not you. And consciousness, your mind. Your mind, even that is also not you, because you are a male or you are a female. And this consciousness does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of your body. So the consciousness is non-physical and your body is physical. So the self is not a consciousness. So besides these 6 elements, none of these 6 elements is a self. Keeping aside the 6 elements, where's the self there? Nothing is left there as a self. And this is reality. So through this close analysis, we come to realize that the self is just, from the object, there's nothing to be identified as a self. What you see as a self is just a mere perception. Okay, so with this in mind, but while the self is just mere perception, nothing from the object, when you look at the people, you will see this, from the object there's a self there. From the object you see as I. This is ignorance. So it says here, what is ignorance? This question, the text. Okay, here, what is ignorance? This question. That which perceives these same 6 elements. What actually we have are the 6 elements. We see the 6 elements as unitary. Unitary meaning as well as one entity, Dorji or Martin, or say the William, or Kim Louis, right? We see as one entity. This is ignorance. The whole meaning, say of the 6 elements, we see as one entity. And the particles, we put the particles are the millions, as I said earlier, like what? The 7 into 10 raised to power, the 27, the times, the atoms, like 7 billion to 27 billion atoms. Okay, no, 7 into the 10 with 27 zeros. Okay. Unitary whole meaning all these atoms are seen as one whole. Then permanent, we see the self as permanent. And constant meaning that what was earlier is today constant. Eternal meaning what is today will last in the future, eternal. And pleasurable, what is actually of misery, miserable, we see as pleasurable. This is very true. A self, as an independent self, on the basis of these 6 elements, you conceive the idea of a self, conceive the idea of a being, a life force, a creature, a soul, or a person, which is the what is already an entity or self which is different from the 5 aggregates. A man, an individual, a human, a person, I, mine, along with the many other such variations of misperceptions. And actually what we have is just these 6. And then a mere perception taking place, but we don't see them as a mere perception. We see them as from the object something is there as a self. Same amidst the 6 elements, we see something as a self. That is ignorance. Okay. The presence of such ignorance brings desire. Then the ignorance gives rise to the desire, aversion, delusion towards objects, such desire, aversion, delusion towards objects are the formations. Formations meaning creating the karmas. With these afflictions, then the karmas are created. The formations caused by ignorance. That which distinguishes between individual objects is conscious. Now the 12 things are being explained. Ignorance is explained, then the formation meaning the karmas are created because of the afflictions, attachment, aversion, which in turn are triggered by the ignorance. Then the next one is consciousness. What is consciousness? Link number 3. That which distinguishes between individual object is consciousness. Okay, this is a book, this is a flower, this is this. So what distinguishes the individual objects? That agent is known as consciousness. The 4 aggregates of appropriation after the consciousness is name and form. Name, the form is physical body. Name is out of the 5 aggregates, the remaining 4 aggregates. Ignorant feeling, then discrimination, then the compositing factors, and the consciousness. This 4 come under the consciousness. So the 4 aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness, 4 aggregates. So say we have 5 aggregates. Keeping aside the physical form, we have the form. This form which follows from the previous consciousness, or this form combined with the physical form is the name and form. The 4 aggregates for appropriation that emerge in conjunction with consciousness are name and form. The faculties based on name and form are the 6 sense sources. Okay, number 5. So name and form is still in the mother's womb. Mother's womb, you have the body from your parents and your mind from your previous consciousness from the previous life. These 2 are there in name and form, and then you are still growing in the developing in the mother's womb. So at one point you grow to such extent where the sense sources, the ears, the eyes, ears, nose, all these shapes take into place. Not only the shapes, even the sense powers, sense sources, they develop. The faculties, meaning the 5 sense sources based on name and form are the 6 sense sources. Then what is the job of 6 sense sources? 6 sense sources, their job is to come in contact with their respective objects. For the ear sense source is to come in contact with the visual object. Okay, contact. That is number number 6. 6 sense sources, the conjunction of the 3 factors meaning the object, the consciousness, and the sense power. These 3 things, object, the flower as an object, and your sense power, eye sense power, and your consciousness. These 3 combined together, then you will have, oh, there's a flower there. This consciousness comes to being. So this contact between these 3 things are required. The conjunction of the factors is contact. Then this number 6, then number 7 is feeling. The experience of contact is feeling. From the contact, then the feeling is given rise to. That is number 7. Then attachment to feeling is craving. Then number 8, attachment. With the feeling, then the craving is given rise to number 8. Then number 9 is the grasping. Grasping. The intensification of the craving is appropriation or the grasping. Then action that comes from appropriation or grasping and causes rebirth is becoming. Becoming is number 10. We are talking about the 12 links. Or this little technical, don't worry. The emergence of the aggregates from such cause is birth. From number 10, number 11, birth. The maturation of the aggregates after birth. Then from the birth, say you are given birth. And then what happens in the mother's conception, the first moment of the mother's conception, there is a birth. Then from there, you keep aging. That is number 12, aging and death. And then eventually death. The emergence of the aggregates from such a cause is birth. The maturation of the aggregates after birth is aging. The perishing of the decrepit aggregates is death. The inner torment of the deluded, attached, deluded person because of this suffering, attached meaning attached to your own worldly existence, and then dying person is sorrow. So now this is explaining what the Buddha earlier said, that whosoever sees the dependent origin will see the Dhamma, whosoever sees the Dhamma will see the Buddha, because this exists, that exists, because this is produced, that is produced, because of ignorance. Okay, don't forget where it is, and then we go back to the early point. Okay, it's fine. Let's it'll take time. It takes much of time. Okay, so the earlier when the Buddha said, I'll just read for we may find it a little difficult to switch the screen sharing on and off. Just keep it here, otherwise it takes lots of time. I'll read it for you. So the Buddha said that the feeling causes craving, and the craving causes appropriation. Appropriation causes becoming, number 10. Becoming causes birth, number 11. And the birth causes aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, suffering, despair, bewilderment, and thus does the entire great heap of suffering arise. So now the following passage which we are reading now here from this screen sharing, this is explaining all these words. The birth causes aging and death, then the sorrow means here dying person's sorrow, the inner torment of the deluded, attached, dying person's sorrow. Next is lamentation. What is lamentation? The utterance that comes from sorrow is lamentation. Then the suffering, experience of discomfort associated with the collection of the 5 consciousness is suffering. Next is despair. The mental suffering due to such reminiscence is despair. And bewilderment. Moreover, any other secondary afflictions of this kind are called bewilderment. And then thus does this entire great heap of suffering arise. Okay. Okay. They are called ignorance. Okay, we are done with this. We're done. Okay, the utterance. The utterance that comes from sorrow is lamentation. The experience of discomfort associated with the collection of the 5 consciousnesses suffering. The mental suffering due to such reminiscence is despair. Moreover, any other secondary afflictions of this kind are called bewilderment. Okay, I think we'll stop here. And for your information, just for your quick information, tonight I think that I did make the announcement this morning, this evening, like in about I think what 1 and 45 minutes. Within 1 and 45, after 1 hour and 45 minutes, Tibet House, we're going to conduct the Bodhicitta Day, taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vows. And those who are interested, you can take part in this. The link is here. Which one is the link? The first one? Okay, Tibet House Facebook page. Anybody can click this. Okay, so the Tibetan staff, they are saying that they will send this through the chat. So you check the chat, and you visit the Tibet House Facebook page, and then you can take part in this the program Bodhicitta taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow on the auspicious day of the Buddha's descent to the planet Earth from the heaven. Number one, and then number two that I'd like to share with you is that there's going to be teaching a very one of my the most precious teachers, Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul. I made a personal request of teaching to him, and then he accepted. He's already 87 years old, but he so kindly accepted my request. So this is primarily for the people who are doing the courses from Tibet House, Nalanda Master's course and Nalanda Diploma course, but this is also going to be made public. Anybody who's interested can take part in this teaching. So my teacher will give the teaching. It's going to be 3 sessions spread over 3 weeks, 1 session per week. And the first teaching is going to my teacher Venerable Geshe Dorji is going to give on the three principal parts by Lama Tsongkhapa, and followed by question answers. And questions will be asked by the students of the Nalanda Master's course and Nalanda Diploma course conducted by Tibet House. But all others can take part in this, meaning that they can listen, they can get the teachings and also listen to the question answer session. Then on the second session, we are requesting my teacher to explain the stanza on the Perfection Wisdom Sutra, 1 stanza, or the Perfection Wisdom Sutra, the stanza, and then followed by question answers. And of course, the other teachings, whatever is very relevant and so important, we will make the request on the spot. So anybody can take part in these teachings. For that matter, YouTube channel. Okay, so they usually. Okay, what we do is that just the best thing for you to do is you can write to at the bottom we say office@tibethouse.in. Just make a request to the office secretary, address to office@tibethouse.in, and request to put you on the mailing list of Tibet House. If you make this request, then every week or every month, okay, every 15 days, you will get a mail from Tibet House notifying you of the programs. And then when you see these programs happening, then you can, they will also provide you with the links, the required links. You can take part in these. Okay, this is what I'd like to inform you for information. Okay, so 1 or 2 questions if you have. 1 or 2 questions if you have. Anyone, raise hands. Any questions? Okay, okay, Charles, you have a question? Charles, do you have a question? If you have.
Oui.
Okay, good.
Je voudrais savoir les facteurs de composition sont les mêmes, c'est la même chose que les facteurs, les formations karmiques?
Okay, this is a good question. So, on the Tibetan word, that okay, to make a very symbol formation here in this context, say formation in general, it doesn't mean karma. Formation in general, but here in this context, in the context of 12 links, when you see the second link translated as formation, that refers to karma. Yes. Yes.
On peut rajouter là-dessus, toutes les tendances du passé
What's the question?
Je voudrais savoir.
Okay. This is a good question. So when we say karma, say the formation in the context of the 12 links, the link number 2 of the 12 links. So formation, it is the karma, contaminated karmas. These contaminated karmas constitute all this is a little complicated. The karma, in generally speaking, karma is of two kinds. We're talking about the contaminated karmas, samsaric karmas. It's of two kinds. One is known as projecting karma, and the other one is known as completing karma. The karma that we are talking here in these 12 links is the projecting karma. Karma to project us into samsara. For example, let's say, projecting karma operates one at a time. Projecting karma operates only one at a time, whereas a completing karma operates millions at a time, simultaneous. For example, let's say that each one of us, we are born as human being because of the projected karma, one projected karma that projected us as a human being. Finished. That is the projected karma, only one operating. That we as a human being, some of us are born in America, some of us are born in France, some of us are born in India, some of us are born in Russia, in America, and different places, Vietnam, Australia, and so forth. We're in different places. And then some of us are born, with the physical very healthy, some of us not too healthy, some of us we are born with lactose intolerance. Some of us, we can drink as much milk as possible. Cheesecake is no problem, right? So we have multiple karmas operating. So these karmas are all referred to as completing karmas. These are not projecting karmas. But the karma that we are talking about in the context of 12 links, number 2, that is precisely the projecting karma, not the other karmas, not the completing karmas. And the projecting karmas, how many such projecting karmas do we have? Just the innumerable projected karmas are with us. And these projecting karmas, are they in the form of tendencies or what? Answer is yes. These projected karmas that we have now from the past, they're all in the form of tendencies or in the form of imprints. That's what Charles said is perfectly correct. Okay, more questions? Laura? Point to 1, 2.2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Cyril.
Yes.
Cyril?
Yes. You have mentioned yesterday that there might be a danger to meditate eyes closed.
Yes.
Can you explain, please?
Okay, well, that's a good question. Thank you. What's the danger of meditating with the eyes closed? Meditation is to make your mind, take your mind of meditation. Meditation is to take your mind closer towards a greater meaning of, if possible, towards Buddhahood. You agree, Cyril? Okay. Buddhahood is a state of mind, a mind which is so sharp and so clear and so alert. And meditation, we talked about the 3 conditions: unwavering condition of impermanence, condition of potentiality, which means that the result that you're seeking and the cause that you are building, these two should be similar. So the result, the Buddhahood, the Buddha's mind, or the Arhat's mind, these minds are so alert and fresh. And the course, the meditation that we are doing, must be also very fresh and very alert. The moment we close our eyes, our mind will lose the alertness. The moment we close our eyes, you just look at the difference. With your eyes open, close eyes. The moment you close the eyes, the darkness will befall. Darkness will blanket your mind, right? So this is what is happening. And the Buddha's mind is extremely fresh and alert. Whereas what we are doing with closed eyes, then it becomes, they say, not fresh and not alert. So with the eyes open, it becomes alert and fresh. And then this non-alert state of mind can become a habit, and can become really bad habit. With this bad habit, you will, instead of going closer to Buddhahood, it will go down. Okay, more questions? Ok, Thomas.
Est-ce que la traduction en français est disponible? Oui, bah, si je la mets pas.
Okay, yes, this is a good question.
D'accord, ok, merci. Comment faire quand on médite sur les 12 liens d'origine dépendante et que l'attachement est tellement fort que en fait, je veux la méditation est coupée, quoi. Et voilà.
Okay, the Francois, I did not hear the question well. Will you repeat the question? Okay. So they say the mind is like the ocean. The mind is like the ocean, and the attachment, they are like the waves created. And if the attachment is so strong, it is like a very powerful wave, very ferocious wave. When it's a very ferocious wave, and they say, just study to 12 links, and then you think about the reality of, say, the focus on impermanence, and then the impermanence will greatly help us, meditation impermanence, to curb the attachment. Then to think about to think about all these 6 elements, right? If you attach to yourself, right? And then you just see inside your the skin, and then the fatty tissues are there. And when there's a cut, then the fatty tissues, they come out. When you see the fatty tissues, it's so repulsive. You're getting it? And it is there. It's whether out or covered nicely, or is they covered nicely, or is out, actually it's there. So the first time when I was very young, as a very young child, some boys, they, when they're playing, then they are injured, they're cut, and the fatty tissues, they come out. This is a very young boy, right? Young boy, now elders, their fatty tissues, they come out. It's even more scary. You're getting it? You think about it. And these are not only when you cut, they come out. No, it is inside there. What is repulsive is actually inside there. You think about it, then the attachment will disappear. That's true. You're getting it? There are many ways. And meanwhile, the one thing is that be in the companion of, the Dharma friends. This is so precious. Be in the companion of Dharma friends, and like, say, the Kalachakra Center, Nalanda, Vajrayogini Center. This is so important to be with them, Dharma friends, and then spend more time in the reflection of the 4 seals, and then also think of the way we said yesterday. Learn how to see things from a broader picture, right? Broader picture in space and in time. Say Dorji, right? Dorji, let's say Dorji, when he was like in his 20s, he should not be thinking about only when he's in 20s. He should think about, okay, one day it's going to be like 50, 30. One day he'll be like 40, 50. You're getting it? And one day he will go like this with a stick, right? These are all the realities. Thomas, at the moment, he can smile very nicely. One day, even the smile will not come. You want to smile, you cannot smile, right? This is what each one of us we're going to become. So this is how, and then they say the attachment to the wealth, attachment to the power, attachment to the opposite gender, and so forth. So these we have to look for the respective remedies, particularly impermanence and the suffering nature. Suffering nature in general is so powerful, so powerful. And COVID-19 is good enough. Think of COVID-19, you know, anybody. So if you attach to the person, they just imagine the person with the COVID-19, you wouldn't even dare to go close by, right? Because finally attachment to the person and attachment to the self, attachment to the self is the cause which gives rise to something else, attached to others. So attachment self is more intense. That is the one drives to all the other attachments, all the other aversions. Okay, this is a very serious question. Thomas, thank you so much. Okay, any more questions? Okay, Charles. Charles, yes, Charles.
Je voudrais savoir si la production interdépendante intérieure vient aussi l'aspect subtil des souffles.
I say it again, does the inner dependent arising comes from? Wind, okay. Oh, this is a good question. This is a good question. So inner dependent origination basically is how the self is projected. Say you take birth, and then you age. Say first you are considered mother's womb, and then the mother's womb is number 11. From the number 11, then you go to number 4, human form, then number 5, the sources, number 6, the contact, number 7, the feeding, then number 8, attachment, grasping, then number 10, the becoming, and then the number 11, that is the birth, and then in the process, while you're going through feeling, number 7, when you go through number 7, then again the number 1, 2, 3, they're again created. So this is a cycle. So what moves this? What moves this? Cycle meaning something's moving. That the self is constantly moving, you know, from one to the second link to the third to the fourth. To this movement is happening. What makes this internal dependent origination move? That movement, of course, is because of the karmic wind, karmic energy. Karmic energy, yep. It's because of the energy, karmic energy, karma, yep. Good. Okay, any more questions? Okay, Subhashini ji, you have a question? Subhashini ji, unmute. Unmute, Subhashini ji. Okay, if not, anybody else? You have a question? Okay, Shandila.
Thank you, Geshe. I wanted to ask that the outer dependent arising, the world and all, is it also based on subtle karmic law because of our own collective karma?
Okay, this is a good question. If you remember, what I said yesterday was that there's overlapping cause and effect, dependent origination of the results dependence on the causes, the first level of dependent origination. Within that, there are two. One which is the natural cause and effect, and the other one is a karmic cause and effect. There are two. And the karmic cause and effect, the natural cause and effect, if you check, you can see there's an overlapping of the two. They can overlap. So what Chandra is asking is whether the external dependent origination, say how the plants growing, the universe coming to being, the world being evolution of the world, and so forth, whether it involves the karmic, the cause and effect, this question. So the answer is yes, greatly yes, because let's say that I am in say my tendency from my, let's say that from my past lives, they say I have so much past lives, maybe let's say that I spent whole my life in a forest. Let's say that in my past life, I spent whole my life in the forest, and the moment I was born, you may be wondering, right? What was my tendencies from my past lives? If you ask me this, now from many years of observation experience, I can say that when I was young, maybe like age Ritvi's age, like age 6, 7, that I feel so nostalgic. I was so nostalgic to see the ruins, and to see some structures like swimming pool without water, dry, a swimming pool, not really swimming pool as such, like a dry structure where there's like a pit, and then some ruins. When I see that, it makes me so nostalgic. So nostalgic. My mind becomes very emotional. I just feel like sitting there. So from there, I could conjecture that perhaps I was at Tibet in the past life where the bombardment was happening. Communist Chinese bombarding the monasteries and the places there. And then this is your home. And then you see your home is bombarded. And you see ruins, and we have nothing to do. You feel so attached to it, but you have nothing to do yet. Just sit there. And then this child died, right? Not the child, say the person died and took birth as a Tibetan boy. And then seeing these ruins, you feel so nostalgic, just inside, a moving feeling. It makes you move, go into, it just moves me so much. I become so emotional to see these things. I just feel like sitting there. This was what is happening. And then for information, perhaps that birth may be also a girl. I must be a girl in the past life. Because when I was very young, age 5, 6, my favorite color was pink. Right? Okay, but not now, not now. Okay, so why did I say all these things? Huh? Why did I say this? Shantila, okay, yes. Okay, now let's say that I was the last life, let's say that I was in the forest. I was the forest department, the staff, let's say. I was in a forest department staff. I just spent whole my life in the forest. I died. And then say I'm born in Delhi, let's say. I'm born in Delhi, where we don't really have forests, but we do see individual trees. When I see the trees, I feel so happy. You're getting it? I feel so happy. I would be so happy if I'm in the Amazon forest. If I'm born there in Amazon forest, I would be so happy. But I'm unlucky. So that where I take birth, this is known as the environmental effect of my karma. So because that I don't enjoy the forest now. So this forest, what I have here, the individual trees, they are of course the effect of my partly the effect of my previous karma. May not be too wholesome personal karma. If it's too wholesome, then it should be total full of forest. So, but at the same time, these forests, they're planted by somebody, and with some water and other factors, earth, water, fire, and the air, space, season, all these combined together, then they come into being. This system, say the outer dependent origination, operating in its natural form. If suddenly there's a change in the weather, then all these forests all these trees can dry. Right? That is a natural phenomena happening. Meanwhile, my karma is also involved there. So this is like the overlapping of the two things happening. Good? Any more questions? Okay. If not, we'll stop here with the end dedication prayer. And I'm not too sure if we can finish the text tomorrow. I'll try to finish the text tomorrow. If not, at least we need something to take away from this teaching, so that we will do tomorrow. Okay, so ended in prayer. Let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, lives long and that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously, and that COVID-19 subsides, and that the vaccine, the appropriate vaccine comes into, say, the development, comes into the active operation, and that all the COVID-19 subsides, and that everybody can go back to the normal life, and everybody can have a sigh of relief. And let us pray that all these great Dharma centers, the great the learning centers, such as the Ganden Monastery, Sera Monastery, the Debung Monastery, and all the monastery universities of Sakya, Kakyu, Nyingma, Gelo, and from the Theravada tradition, the Chinese tradition, all these traditions, they thrive in the activities of study, reflection, and meditation. And let's also pray that all these beautiful Dhamma centers, such as Kalachakra Center, they all thrive in the activities, that as many can join as members, and as many can be benefited out of these their contribution of the activities in the study, reflection, and the meditation of the Dharma. Let us pray that the bodhicitta, out of wisdom of emptiness, the teaching of bodhicitta, out of wisdom of emptiness, thrives in the minds of all human sentient beings, present and future. With that in mind, let's recite the Darshan prayer together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful charities, Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appear in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanjo samjo rembo che ma ya banam ke gyoro che ke bo nyambo me ba ya one kondo pe sho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realizations. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect when the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness, prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from all their illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. And may the powerless find power. May people think of benefiting one another. By the merits I've accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the mind of bodhicitta, and may they always engage in the Bodhisattva's conduct. May they be cared for by all the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of devils. May no creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the mind of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. Having dispelled inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, and disasters, due to environmental degradation, may all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. And wisdom and compassion. Today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and auspicious and proliferate in all the places where we abide. The power of the union and emptiness compassion is explained by the pretender of both the Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You the Tenzin Gyatso. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who hereby manage through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of three jewels, by the dependent realization of profound suchness of appearance and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of three jewels and the power of the truth and the virtue of the infallible law of karmas and the true fruits. May this truthful prayer of ours be unhindered and quickly fulfilled. May the teachings of this beneficent one till world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always be met by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May I never falter even for an instant to uphold the excellent way of the sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my births, even giving away my body in life. May I spend days and nights carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior through strenuous efforts over countless eons. In normal lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the quality of stages and the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Okay, the Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you. See you all tomorrow. See you again.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you. Thank you, Geshe-la. Good night.
Very much. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe.
Geshe-la.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.